We had a very interesting experience. Of course, we chose this virtual pilot approach, and it offered the possibility for the city of Almere to really sit together with urban planners that are developing a new area, the Pampas area, and that gave us the possibility to discuss autonomous technology, the implications it has for a new city development, any changes you need to make to infrastructure, etc. And we involved a lot of people from within the municipality, and together we discussed autonomous technology and the implications. It was also a very nice way for the city to put its BRT system into discussion, let's say. We have a very successful public transport concept with high-frequency bus lines connecting all the most important parts of the city. But we want to see if it's future-proof, if this new technology can help us improving the system, reaching more people, making the transport system even more efficient and affordable. So for us, the PAV project was a really positive experience. We got a lot of nice input from all the different partners, even did a survey together with the University of Ghent and collected a lot of useful feedback from citizens in Almere.
My name is Max Berlin, and I was head of the pilot demonstrator in Varberg. And before Varberg entered PAV, I think CCAMs and AV operations was more or less something theoretical done in other cities, in bigger cities. Varberg is quite a small city. So when we actually did the demonstrator, it was pretty short. It proved the point that this can be done in a small city like Varberg. I mean, the experiences were both pros and cons, but basically we got through the message that this is an opportunity for the future. Maybe not now, because it's not that reliable, but this could be a part of the public transport mix in Varberg in a not too distant future. We have to overcome some obstacles, and we learned along the way a lot of those obstacles, but I think that in the long run, AVs will be a part of the transport mix, even in a small city like Varberg, both in the city, in peri-urban areas and in rural areas. I think that we learned a lot about when not to put an AV in traffic, that you have to have some kind of restrictions in traffic. You can't put it in a really hard traffic environment like the one where we piloted our AV. You had to have a more restricted area for this, or a bit less traffic disturbances.
We really learned a lot in PAV. First of all, I have to say autonomous vehicles will definitely shape the way we think about public transport. That's because it really can tackle the driver shortage we face in Germany. And second, it will enable our DOT system like we do in Hanover with Sprinty. But on the other hand, we also see that current vehicles on the market are not mature enough because the speed is really limited in many cases. That's why we would like to focus more on inner city transport in the near future and then elaborate on that with further projects. I also have to say that the vehicles itself right now need many infrastructure requirements like good road surface, good road marking or green pruning, what can be definitely a problem because it is really cost intensive and not every municipality has the money to finance it.
So based on a survey we did with the citizens of Almere and the university students and university employees of Leibniz University in Hanover, we saw that there is a high acceptability towards AVs. However, there's also a large amount of people who are more uncertain about AVs. So it's very important to create more awareness and to also realize more everyday real-life projects. We can do this by more research, by more collaboration and more participations, because we and also the respondents believe that AVs will contribute to our lives and make mobility possible for everyone.
Well, Clean is the network partner, so our kind of main contribution is to broaden kind of the connection of PAV and kind of what the partners have been delivering and working with to a wider audience. So we've kind of utilised our wider networks that we're connected to across Europe and actually outside Europe as well. So there's been a bit of interest from our partners in North America, etc. And actually connecting with other mobility projects, kind of developing and trying to basically cross-reference and kind of learn a little bit more, specifically around taking outcomes for the future and like where is this AV technology fitting in terms of the mobility as a solution and what solutions are coming in an urban environment. I think the main kind of takeaways has been that there is an interest in AVs, or at least urban mobility, as a focus, but I think the main thing has been obviously the technology as it is now is not viable for a lot of kind of cases, but the kind of discussion about what is the problem that AVs is addressing, what is it that it can actually bring as a service. I think that's been the most interesting part of these kind of webinar series that we've hosted, and actually getting different perspectives on not just looking at the vehicle itself, but actually looking at the way people think about things and the city as environments as a whole, and actually looking at the infrastructure and what is it that we want to achieve with our future mobility.
Integrating AVs in urban areas is definitely not an easy task, where there are many different types of road users, and cities and public transport authorities have faced many challenges. It started with a lack of a regulation, a framework that allows them to explore and to innovate, but there is also definitely a lack of resources, of capacity to deal with innovative technology. And on top of everything, the citizens that are the ones that elect the cities and the public transport authorities, they lack awareness, they lack also acceptance of the technology, something that they don't know. And on top of everything, there are operational challenges. The technology is not there, the infrastructure is on its way of being ready. This doesn't mean that the cities and the transport authorities are just sitting, not doing anything. Policymakers are working tirelessly to create a framework that will come at the EU level, but there's also at national levels. There is more and more public-private collaboration, which definitely improves the capacity to innovate and to bring these innovative solutions. Cities, authorities are engaging more in projects like PAV to test the solutions, to bring the solutions to citizens so they can really get a test of how it is, and to try to understand how to educate them, how to raise awareness. And then these projects also help with the operational challenges. What is not working? Where do we need to put our focus? Cities are putting a lot of resources in a massive decarbonization and digitalization wave that it's setting the basis for integrating AVs at a large scale in the future.
I think we've learned a lot. I think we've certainly learned about the challenges of implementing a connected autonomous vehicle service. That's probably been the main. So an understanding of what the technological barriers and limitations might be, the different environments where you can introduce a CCAM service, the potential application of CCAM in other forms of our current transport system, and how that might evolve as we move towards driverless operation itself. I think we've probably got some really good insight about what the potential the technology offers if it was to be applied in different environments as well, and that's something we really look forward to trying to see if we can take advantage of in terms of the learning and knowledge that we've built up over the period that we've had a live pilot in Inverness.
One reflection we have made is that it's quite complex, actually. I mean, when we started to look on this, you can put it as a simple equation, so to say, or a few simple equations, but there are so many factors that can affect. For example, user behavior. How can you predict user behavior for different scenarios in city planning or city transport planning, for example? That's not easy. Autonomous vehicles, electrical vehicles, it's often, but also you can think of another way of having transport with more user needs or user demands, taking that into place. So for example, the last mile being autonomous, really picking up people at their homes, so to say. So in that sense, maybe you can get more people to really use public transport when being autonomous.
Both tools are actually capacity building and guidance tools. Cities can learn what is a complete ecosystem of automated mobility, so in terms of policy, infrastructure, users, traffic management, and can learn or reflect where they are actually standing in terms of readiness to plan or prepare, implement for these technologies, for these new solutions. And if they show a weakness in one of these areas, they get with the handbook some best practice examples from PAV, for example, but also other European projects where they can learn a lot.
The PAV projects have been really interesting because we began with an intention of wanting to engage with the people who might be affected by autonomous vehicles and to understand how their needs and issues and thoughts and so on can be then incorporated within urban design and urban planning. So what that involved kind of in the early stages of the project was undertaking a lot of debate and discussion with people to try to understand maybe what were the issues that our towns and cities are maybe needing to address. And that in turn then kind of framed the rest of the work that we did in the project. So I think as PAV continued, it then became possible for us to make sure that most of the work that we were doing as a group was looking at kind of technical aspects of autonomous vehicles, but that it was also placing that within a kind of social and cultural and economic context. So I think ultimately what maybe made our project different to a lot of other autonomous vehicle projects is that we had this focus on where people live and how people live their lives, and we were trying to kind of think into the future and think, well, is it possible that this technology could actually help us to avoid problems in the future? Or is it possible that we could use this technology to make people's lives nicer and make people's lives more livable?